Hey guys, and welcome to another hobby vlog, another week of painting these little things that we love so much. Yeah, it's been pretty productive today. As per usual, Mondays is the big day, and yeah, we've got a few new things, on the table. We've got our Blight Kings here. I've got this one, which I'm going to start this week, which should be pretty cool. He's going to have a little different sort of paint scheme. I'm not going to do a tutorial for this one, but this one's sort of like a little fun challenge. I'm going to try some different colors on him and see how he goes. So he's started the same way as the other one here that is part of the tutorial. I just completed the third part in this series. So that'll be up, that should be up, well, at the end of this week, but when you see this video, it'll be up yesterday. So yeah, check it out. It's going to have all of the armor painting stuff in there. So we went from a blue to a green and then put some glazing in there to get some purples and reds and stuff into the shadows there. It's a little hard to tell in this iPhone footage, but it is there. It's a lot more, I guess, greenish than bluish than what you're seeing here, but he came up pretty cool. So that's good. And then yeah, the next week we'll work on, like, you know, the axe and all the other little various secondary details that are on it. So that's cool. And I've got out the Death Shroud there, so they're going to be hopefully I'll start their armor this week. We'll see how it goes, but I'm working on the characters at the moment. So I think I showed these last week, and I've started on the armor there, so you can see just building up those tones, trying to spend a little bit more time on this guy, as Typhus is kind of, you know, special character, so you want to put a bit more work into him. So I've been working on that, just getting those little tones up, and I'll be doing a bit of glazing in there, and then doing my contrast paint wash, which I did on the demon prints that you would have seen on the last one. So you'll get a bit more green in there, but I'm going to try to add a few more colors into this, just to make him a little bit more special than the standard models that I've done. And he'll be a little bit brighter and lighter than the others, just to set him apart. I've been enjoying sort of, yeah, changing the colors on some, like, you know, just to get that classic feel of Chaos, that like each Chaos you know, warrior or space marine is kind of like a unique character that's trying to vie for the gods' favor and become a lord in their own right, and they don't really play well with each other. You know, they're not team players, they're all individuals, and so that gives you a great license to sort of spread out your painting, I guess, skills and create different effects. And so I'm trying not to paint them all in bigger batches. I'm trying to scale it down, do some things in batch, but trying to do individual paint schemes for each of them in little tiny various ways, just to break them up, at least on the characters, some of the sergeants and so on, because I think that's pretty cool. So he doesn't have any more, this Lord of Contagion. He's pretty much the same as last week, but you know, he's he'll get some more work on him hopefully this week. And apart from that, I've got my last Denizens of Catan bust sculpt that I've been doing. I should get that completed this week, and possibly on Wednesday, this is Monday now, so Wednesday I should be able to start up those frozen mini and mighty 4K printers that I've got, and do some tests, and maybe even print out one of the next Denizens. So the one I'm sculpting now, that won't come out until May, June or something like that. I think June maybe. So I've got a few that, you know, ways to go before they actually finally get released. Right now we've got the March release, which is Kygor, which if you have a look on the channel, there's a little showcase video for him, but there are at least 2 on the website now that you can get and download and print at blightedgods.net/store. The link will be in the down there. If you're into printing, go and check it out, because they are really cool. But yeah, apart from that, I think that's probably going to be it for the week, but we'll see how we go. Hopefully I'll get to show some cool effects on this. I'm going to try some different skin tones. Yeah, the new Soul Blight stuff has been released, and on the community page, and all the vampire stuff, and so I'm thinking about, you know, getting back into death, because I love that when I was you know, when I was younger and stuff, and I definitely want to do some undead stuff. My Blight of Gods brand is all about necromancy, so I do love it, and I'd love to do a bit of that for the Warhammer stuff. So we'll see, but I've got some ideas for some skin tones, so yeah, we'll try it out on him and see how we go, I guess. But apart from that, that's it for the beginning of the week, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Alright, here we are. So yeah, I've got a little bit of stuff done this time around, a little bit more, and some other little exciting things which I've decided to get into. You never have enough models, right? So let's start off with the actual painting, the hobby side of the the hobby vlog. So yeah, I was playing around with this one of my other Black King models that I've got. This is from the Beastgrave set, and I'll see if I can get a little closer. There we go. So yeah, I'm really happy with this one. So this was done in a slightly different technique, well, similar technique but different color. So the this is the one that I'm doing for the tutorial. That's been done with the Corpse Power, which is more of a yellow pinkish flesh. You can see the difference there. And then for this one, this guy here, I've gone for using bone. So I think I used the Screaming Skull bone one, which is like a lighter, paler tone, and then there's grey mixed in. So it's come up a lot sort of, I guess, desaturated and pale, and then the glazing's gone over that. So the next step will be to like highlight up again. So I'll probably bring some more saturation back in just to have the highlights a bit brighter, and then do all the little internal areas probably in a similar way with the yellows and stuff like that, and bring in the purples and the yellows just to keep it bright. Ultimately, probably this one stands out a bit more than the other one, but it was an interesting experiment just to see what happens if I add more greys and more pale tones, and see how the glazing interacts with that, and whether it pops it back out again into like a brighter style or not. But yeah, I still like it. It's pretty cool. He'll have probably black armor with some like reflections and stuff in it, some different colors. So I'm going to try to bring some of the colors that are in the flesh up into the armor and see how that goes. Yeah, I don't know how reflective I want to go, but just like maybe, you know, a little bit of color in there just to break it up and make it look interesting. So he'll be fun, and he'll be a unique look compared to the other one. So that was cool. And then not much more, pretty much the same level on Typhus there. So I haven't got around to getting into the armor yet on these, but we'll see how we go. I might do a bit tomorrow. I finally finished the last Denizens of Catan bust. I would have had a print to show today, but the printer had a few issues, so I'm not able to print this week. I'll have to muck around with it and get it going. And the new printers I haven't started yet, so hopefully next week we'll see some prints. I've got the last two that I have to print out and then paint, so we'll see those. I'll be mucking around with those paint schemes pretty soon. That'll be really cool. But yeah, so now I'm kind of free in terms of sculpting projects for Blight of Gods. So if you're interested, have a look. The link's in the down there if you don't know what that is. It's my personal brand, if you're just watching this for the first time. And yeah, so I'm probably going to have a try at some miniature scale stuff, because most of the sculpts I do are larger. So this time around, I think I'm going to have a crack at a smaller scale. So I don't know exactly how small I want to go yet, whether it's going to be, you know, 75 mil or 54 mil or 35. I don't know yet, but I think I'm going to start out with a Wraith. I've got some ideas for how I want to sculpt that, and it'll be a nice easy way in, because it's mostly robes and stuff, and then, you know, there's less anatomy to get in scale for that size, just because my sculpting style tends to be, I guess, more about textures and details and surface finishes and stuff like that, which isn't necessarily going to read on the small scale. So I'm going to have to sort of adjust my sculpting style, which is a, you know, a unique challenge. I think that'll be a fun challenge for the rest of the year to do that. And then there's a few other little sculpting ideas I've got, which will bring me on to the next little part of this hobby vlog, which is the things that I've just gone and bought. And that is these. So we'll bring them in. Here we go. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, these guys. Now the Flesh Eater Quartz, I can't really, you can see him there. There he is. Hello. So yeah, I bought the book. I've got the Abhorrent guy. This one's going to be hilarious to paint. This one makes me laugh, mostly because this army is the background is just hilarious. You know, if you don't know, it's essentially, these are Bretonnians, and if you're an old school fantasy player and you remember what Bretonnians were like back in the day, and the not all the players that played them, but definitely there was a group of players that played Bretonnians, which, you know, were a little bit on the cheesy end of the spectrum. And it's so funny that they made these guys Bretonnians. I mean, they effectively are. They don't really say it, but you know, there's a few lines of freight text there that talk about it. So I got this big box. I can see it this way. There we go. Flesh Eater Quartz with the dragon. He's all good. So I got two more on order in this one. So that's 3 boxes plus that abhorrent should be enough to field an army. Close to 2,000 points, if not 2,000. And that'll be a lot of fun. I can't wait to muck around with that. So that'll be my gaming army, and then these Black Kings will be, you know, my individual painting challenges. So yeah, and I'm looking forward to mucking around with those. So I've got some ideas. So for this one, I'm going to do some tests, but you know, this guy's just begging for a you know, a torn piece of banner. You know, one of the Bretonnian banners. You know, like he's using as a cape. That looks like that's perfect for that, with a little fleur-de-lis as a clip to hold it on. I think that'll be hilarious, and maybe even change the head and sculpt one and do like a Bretonnian helmet on, because that, like, you know, sort of, I guess this army is like begging for like showing, you know, like the delusion is like what they see, you know, so you actually get to see how they think they are, you know, or at least a version of it. So you could do that for like the ghouls and stuff, put little peasant hats on them and do all kinds of interesting little things. So I don't know how far down the road of the Bretonnian thing I'll go, but I definitely at least want to do one of these guys as like a diluted Bretonnian, and that'd be like super fun. Just to muck around with that. So I'm going to at least do one. But then also, like for my Blighted Gods brand, I've got a whole ghoul faction. I love ghouls and I love sculpting them. So I definitely think that that'll be a nice challenge and a good way for me to practice my sculpting on a small scale, to do some head swaps and, you know, some little minor tweaks like that, so I can bring in some of my my sculpting style down into that size before I sort of tackle whole models. And that'll be a nice way for me to see if I can, yeah, convert that over to a 35mm scale, because I think my if you go to the website, have a look at my Ripper ghouls, the fast sort of I guess predatory ones. It's actually should be in the banner, actually, the one on the right hand side of my banner on YouTube. Yeah, he's actually a printed model, that kind of toothy, really vicious looking ghoul. I feel like that sort of face design, with no lips and so on, would be really fun and a really good look for some of these, rather than the sort of more dopey looking ones that some of the sculpts have. I'd like to remove that and have them much more predatory looking, a bit like, you know, the way this guy is, you know, a bit more sort of toothy and a bit more vicious looking, rather than sort of the dopey ghoul look that some of them have, which is still cool, like it's fun, but I'd like to see a bit more of a vicious look to them. So that might be a good challenge, just to see if I can bring my sculpting style, and then also bring in some base pieces, so do some sculpted base pieces, and so you can do some interesting bases for these. I think that'd be fun, and I could maybe end up releasing a pack of those for 3D printing. That'd be really cool. So I don't know, they're just some ideas I've got, but we'll see how it all goes with that in the future. But definitely the first one will be mucking around with this guy, because I think that'll be an interesting challenge. So yeah, that's where I'm at this week, and I'll definitely have probably another installment before the end of this hobby vlog. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll do a little bit more painting probably on this one, maybe get a bit more on Typhus, and yeah, there might be some other interesting things, but I'll bring you back in when they happen, I guess. So I'll see you shortly. All right, here we are. So we're at the end of the week, well, the weekend, getting into it anyway. And yeah, we're pretty much at the same spot as we were before. A tiny little bit of work, but I figured I'd bring you back in and show you what I've done. And I guess, you know, it's important to show the wins and the failures, you know what I mean? A part of these kind of hobby vlogs, I guess, is about, you know, showing the real process, you know, all the good bits and the bad, you know, like so it's not like, I guess, you know, when you see on social media, you know, some, I guess, feeds, it kind of looks like the person or the artist or the creative person has everything in check, you know, and it's just constant productivity. But that's not obviously the case. You know, life gets in the way, and, well, not gets in the way, but just life happens and things go on, and you have to, do that. So you can't always be sitting at the table playing with toy soldiers. So yeah, I thought I'd just bring you back in just for the end. I did manage to get some work done, which is nice. And I did obviously complete some sculpting work, but I just can't show that. So hopefully next week I'll get those printers running and get the one that's playing up fixed, and then I should be able to show some new work. But yeah, so we did get some work on Typhus here. So you can see on the front belly there, I've started doing like sort of like a very fine, I guess, line work build-up of color. You'll see a lot of painters online doing this, Instagram especially. You'll see a few guys there that do this type of technique, and it's funny because like I used to do it all the time on my Noble guys back in the day, and now I'm doing it again. So it's obviously something that's, you know, I guess an instinct for some people to do in this kind of, I guess, very thin line build-up of layers. See if I can get a bit closer so you can see it. So it sort of builds up and you get from light to dark, and it's pretty cool. So it's an interesting technique, and one that comes naturally to me, so I'm sort of pushing it a little bit to see like how far I can take it. But it is a cool thing, but it's very, I guess, pedantic or very precise kind of movements, and very there's a lot of control, but it's very soft, like the contact from the brush to the model. So you've got to really control your consistencies to get those nice crisp clean lines to build up correctly, so you get that tonal effect. So it's definitely an intuitive thing, and something that you don't I don't know if you can really just watch a tutorial and then start doing it. This takes years of kind of, you know, feeling it out. Like you can see, it just takes a while to get those kind of line work to really feel like a gradient, you know, across the surface. Even though it looks like magic when you see some of the guys that are really good at this, and I wouldn't include myself in that category, but there's some pretty good artists on Instagram that show this. It's like a Japanese dude, I think, or someone from Japan that does these. I don't know, everyone's probably seen it that's into the hobby. It's like he's holding like a brush. It's like a white kind of almost angular, triangular shaped kind of stem on the brush, and these really fine, fast little lines. And he's building up all of these colors. I think it's a Japanese guy. Anyway, that's like the high end of this type of technique. But I'm just at the the low end, just doing a bit of stuff here. But it's definitely something that's I find I have an affinity for. Like I really enjoy it, and I was doing it back in the day when I could barely paint. You know, I would do these little lines. I even did a little bit on this as well, like these little streak patterns. It does help that these are Nurgle, and that's a solid choice when you're doing Nurgle stuff to do that kind of textured look. It works really well. But yeah, anyway, just something I've noticed. So that's pretty much where I'm at, and hopefully I'll get some more work done on this by the end of the week, but I won't be able to show it. But when you see it next week, hopefully most of the arm will be done, and yeah, and we'll get on to some new stuff, hopefully some prints. And yeah, I've got a new sculpting project, so I'll talk about that more next week. But yeah, things are looking good, especially for the Blight of Gods brand and what I'm going to do next, which should be really interesting. Yeah, a lot of stuff to show in the future. So I hope you guys are having a good day and getting on with your hobby as well, and hopefully not going as slow as me. Hopefully you're smashing it. But otherwise, yeah, I'll catch you on the next one, I suppose.